Houston 78, Edwardsville 40. Dion, this one went about as expected. Did your eyebrows raise at all when Edwardsville was up 4-2 in this game?
It didn't necessarily when Edwardsville went up 4-2, but what I will tell you is I was extremely impressed with Houston. And I know going into this game, that shouldn't be the takeaway of like, oh my God, Houston was so good. But I feel like Houston did show another gear in this game, scoring 78 points. I know Houston can score the basketball, don't get me wrong, but I kind of thought like going into this game, it might be a let's just get out of town, right?
Yeah,
They handled it like professionals. It was very businesslike, but they took it to another gear where they said that's not enough for us. We have
yeah.
a point to prove, and they did prove it. Their defense was spectacular. Milos Uzan had maybe the easiest 16 points I've ever seen in my life. And they were able to get everybody out of there. No one played over 26 minutes, it looks like, and our leading minutes guy came off the bench. I don't know, Arsenault. I'm not gonna try
Yep.
to say his name ever again, by the way.
You're
Um,
correct.
was that?
Yeah, Arsenal.
My dog Mercy got in. He got a bucket too. Or he didn't get a bucket, but he had two free throws. Oh, 6 is rough for my dog Merce, though.
Yeah, yeah. This is what Houston does, man. Like we talk all the time about how you can argue if they what their ceiling is, but they have the highest floor in the country, or one of the highest floors in the
Mhm.
country, because they do not let teams like this hang around. They kind of put it on the back burner in the second half. You could tell they were kind of like, all right, let's get out of here. They only scored 26 in the second half compared to double that, 52 in the first. If that tells you everything that you need to know. They jumped out on Edwards real quick, man, and wanted to put this to bed. They wanted to get some rest. This was the perfect game to get Juwan Roberts back in the flow.
Yes.
20 points or 20 minutes, excuse me, only 6 points, 3 boards, 5 shots. But you got him on the court for 20 minutes. You didn't have to rely on him. You didn't have to do a ton of crazy things with him. Uzan was very sharp. Crier, had some playmaking with his 4 assists as well. You got the bench involved, feeling good. You made 10 threes as a team. The vibes are high, I think, for Houston right now, going into that game against Gonzaga in the next round. Vibes are high. You said business like. Yeah, this is what Houston does. They came out and did everything you could have. They checked every single box that you would want to see against a very undermatched 16 seed.
Yeah, they did everything you were looking for a team to do, right? They went out there and they handled business, and I think you explained it very well. Like the way they went about it too got their players rest. Like they
Yeah.
proved their point quickly. They said, "Here's who we are. Let's get them out of there." So there, it was a 2-for-1. I think that's what I was most impressed with Houston. I mean, I've kind of been saying the last few weeks how I think Houston needs to be in that conversation with Duke and Florida and Auburn. And they
Yep.
might need to be above Auburn, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. That game's currently ongoing, neither here nor there. But nonetheless, I think they were able to prove that yet again in this game. And then, like, you look ahead, I mean, we will discuss it on this channel as you and I are on it. We're on both the Gonzaga recap as well as the, potential Houston Gonzaga preview. It certainly looks at the moment like that's the video we will be doing as Gonzaga is up 27-3. But nonetheless, I mean, this team's special. When you look at this
Yeah.
bracket, I really don't know who's going to get in their way, especially with McNeese looking like they're going to take down Clemson.
If they can get to the Sweet 16, path sets up nicely. There's a potential Elite Eight matchup with Tennessee, which just projecting ahead, a Houston Tennessee matchup would be a total rock fight.
Right.
High level basketball, but a total rock fight. But again, like this Houston team is this good. If we are going to nitpick, and this is just simply nitpicking because you have to nitpick to talk about anything Houston could work on.
Um, So this is me comparing them to other teams. I don't think they're as deep as some of the other teams are, and this is very nitpicky. So their garbage time lineup isn't as good. It's not even necessarily that like if it's a close game, I think their rotations are just as good as the next. But
Yeah,
their garbage time lineup, like Auburn's garbage time lineup, has Tahad Pettiford in it. Duke's garbage time lineup has Isaiah Evans in it. Florida's garbage time lineup has actually I have no idea, but you know what I mean. Like so on and so forth. Like
Yeah.
I feel like their garbage time lineup is missing like McDonald's All Americans that other teams have.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to point out because they played great in this game, right? There's nothing you can really leave with a legitimate complaint about. That being said, like you got your guys who you knew would contribute contributed, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because that's why you know they can contribute. But if Houston is going to make a Final Four, win a national championship, do the things that Houston has internal expectations of doing, Emmanuel Sharp has to play well and Malik Wilson has to play well. Those are the two guys who provide the support for Uzan and Cryer and help kind of carry the burden in case one of them are off. They combined in this game for 10 points on 3 of 15 shooting, 2 of 8 from 3. Houston can win games when guys are like that, but for Houston to be at its very best, at least one of those two has to be playing well. At
Mhm.
least one of those two has to be playing well offensively because they did some other stuff too. Wilson had 9 rebounds, was everywhere, but he also had 3 turnovers, right? So that's kind of the thing for me that I'm looking at. Like, let's say they suddenly slip up in the second round. Why would that happen? Why would that be such a shock? Well, it's because they go cold and you don't get the offensive production from enough places. That's the only thing for me in a 38-point win. Again, like we're being very nitpicky and we're talking about potential hypotheticals. They're awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's the takeaway is this team is really really good.
Did you
Um,
did you change? Our brackets have been submitted. Those are done for at this point. I had Clemson in the Elite Eight. We're done with that. We're over this. I was bamboozled living in North Carolina in ACC country. Um, did this result change like your outlook for Houston for the tournament, or how far you think they can go?
um, well, I mean that's let me see how far I have them going actually because I feel like that's tough. That's tough to say because I'm pretty sure I have them going to the Final Four. Yeah, so I have them in the Final Four. I have them losing to Duke. Um, I don't know if it changes my mind on that, but do I think that
Yeah,
game's a little closer now than I did before? Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. I have Gonzaga beating Houston. I still think that's a possibility because Gonzaga is really, really good. That being said, I think I feel better about Houston. This feels weird to say. I feel better about Houston now that we've seen Juwan Roberts out there and playing because that was part of what factored into my decision was Juwan
Mhm.
Roberts' health. And I also think that if Houston wins that game, I think they're probably a Final Four team.
I mean, I definitely think
They're definitely an Elite Eight team. We'll see if Tennessee gets there or not.
I love Gonzaga. Well, no, I don't. But they're
I don't really either, but I think they're a good matchup for Houston.
I think I just think putting all the eggs in the Gonzaga basket to get Houston out of here is a little crazy.
It kind of is, but that's the way the bracket is shaping up. That's what's there.
That's
That's what's
fair.
there.
That's
So
fair. I don't think this is the most like brutal region anybody's ever had to be a part of. I also don't. I think Tennessee is the weakest of the two seeds too, and I think that plays a role in how I feel about like
we
Houston's.
we differ in that opinion.
St. John's.
Um, yeah, St. John, Alabama.
Ooh, we
Yeah,
don't differ in that.
yeah.
I don't have Bama's not a two seed in my world. I keep forgetting that the committee
That's
doesn't know.
that's why Duke has a relative cakewalk.
Yeah, I keep forgetting the committee doesn't know Bama's frauds. So that's on me. That's on me. But still, like when you look at the two seeds, like it's not like the most dangerous group in the world. Like I think you're okay with having to play St. John's, Bama, or Tennessee. The only one that really puts a good amount of fear in me would be State.
Yeah, Michigan State. Yep, I'm with you. Big win for Houston. We'll see if they can keep it going, but they did what they needed to do.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.